I would like to see, being that Veterans Day is almost upon us, I would like to see who among us are veterans. If you're a veteran, would you please stand up? Stand up. Thank you. All right. Mark, would you mind coming up and introducing yourself?
Good morning. Celebration of Veterans Day coming up, day or two. I enlisted the help of Freddie Miller. He's in charge of the VFW Gospel, or he was the name of given to contact. And he brought two gentlemen who were both in World War II. There's Fred Bollinger, who's got the one green hat over there, and the green jacket. He's 100 years old, just turned 100 years old the other day. And then Larry Reed is next to him. He's also a veteran of World War II, and they're going to tell you about what they did in World War II. Start, Larry.
If you don't mind, I won't stand up, so I'm not lazy. Bad. I'm not really a speaker, but I want to thank the Rotary for inviting us over, and that shows that people haven't forgotten the old guys from World War II. You have to be at least 92, well, I'm 92, so you have to be at least 92 to be combat in World War II. So I took my basic in Fort Custer, Michigan, Battle Creek, at 80 miles from Chicago. And from there, we went back to, oh, that was the 84th Division, by the way. They called it the Abe Lincoln Division, and the rail splitter. Our patch was a rail with an axe in it. So anyway, I went overseas in 1944. January 44, we went to Fort Miles Standing. That's just not too far from Boston. That's when we left. We boarded the third largest luxury liner, English luxury liner, and there was about 5,000 troops in those ships. And we went to 12 days, took the 12 days, zigzagged across the Atlantic, Liverpool, England. And there was a band playing for us, and it took us all day to unload. And anyway, we went to where we were stationed for a while. It was just a short ways out of Fort Miles Standish, a place called Burton on the Hill. So at that time of the year, it was pretty, it got dark early, about 4 o'clock every day. So when we went, got our leaves and went to town, it was almost pitch black at the time. And this is something that you don't hear too often about what we found when we got to England. It was about over 10 million GIs in World War II. So it took a long time to get all of our troops over to England, and the gasoline and the ammunition and everything. So I didn't really know at that time, because I was young and we didn't know too much what was happening anyway. But ever like in southern England, there would be just piles of ammunition, and it was camouflaged. And then down the road a half mile there would be stacks of gasoline that all over. You wouldn't realize, but after thinking about it, it had to be that way in order to make the invasion. When we got England took a pretty good beating. I'm talking about the civilians now, but because it was a total blackout for 5 years. And I mean a total blackout. Even the cars, they call them cat eyes, the glass was painted over, a little cat eyes cut. And all the buildings, what we did, we were looking for a pub, so we had a touch, I find it, but there was you go through the door, then there'd be another drink, you have to go through one door and then into another, to get in any building. So they had pretty tough, they were rationed, they had hardly anything. And they had, we saw some girls, we're looking for girls, so. There was a young girl that had uniforms, so we learned this as we went along. They were called the WLA, that's Women's Land Army. They were all teenagers. They worked in the gardens. Everybody did something in England. And the old guys, we'd see them marching down the road in the dark, and they were called the Home Guard, the old guys. That was the Home Guard. And the rest, England had their troops in North Africa, and Sicily and Italy. So it took that long to build up troops and get enough equipment and vehicles over there to make the invasion. The 84th, we went across the channel 3 days after D-Day. And it was really a turmoil. And all of our wounded went back to Liverpool, England. They just took them back to Liverpool, England. And so I'm going to skip over that, about the combat and the mess that we had to go through, the hedgerows and so forth. And so I'm going to go to the end of the war. It was winding down, and I happened to be in the place called Babenhausen, Germany. And when the war ended, France was divided into 4 parts. They call it was the Russians and the English and the Americans and the French. And I happened to be in a Russian sector. There'd be 4 sectors. And when in order, before we went to the English sector, the American sector, the people there, they didn't want us to leave, and we always wondered why they begged us to stay there. But later we learned that the German troops had really treated the Russians bad, but that's war. So anyway, but they didn't want us to leave. But anyway, that's the way it was. So we went to the American sector. And this is what kind of bothers me, and it even hurts me to even tell it. Our company, we were in Mannheim, Germany, not too far from Heidelberg. We marched into an area that hadn't been bombed out, and we had our interpreter to go to each house. There's a long block that was my company that marched up there. So the interpreter went to each house and told them that they would have to leave. There was old people, babies, women, mostly, and sick people and everything. And they were crying and calling and everything. Where we got to go? What we got to do? At that time, this is what I'm getting at. It didn't bother me at that time because of all the I went through, but it bothers me now. There was no exception. Everybody had to leave. The only thing they could take was blankets, food, and clothing, and leave. They had a time for them to leave. And it was, like I say, it didn't bother me then, but it does now. But that's what happened. We moved into their houses, and that's where we lived until we got ready to come home. But the Germans would come back and ask us not to tear the house down. And they had gardens planted, and they wanted to come back and work in the gardens, which was fine with us. And then when the war was over, there were so many of us waiting to come home. And we came home with a point system. we got like 5 points for every battle scar you had, and 5 points for every 6 months you were over there. So at that time, I'd been there about 18 months. But it took that long to come home because they couldn't fly. There was millions of us ready to come home. So we just waited our turn, and that's what happened. I came home on what they call a victory ship. They even built ships to bring the troops home, and I came home in January of '46. That was 2 years I spent in Europe, and this is another thing that happened that we weren't ready for. They flew me back with about 18 others in a C-47. That was a plane that carried the paratroopers. And we kept from New York to Camp Kilmer in New Jersey. From there to Camp Beale here in county of Marysville, close to Sacramento. And let's see, when we were discharged, you had to lay out all of your equipment, whatever we had. I skipped over this, but when we crossed the Rhine River coming home, I threw my M1 in the river. And when we were mustered out at Camp Beale, it had on the discharge papers and the money that we got. It was $87 for an M1 rifle. So I bought an M1 rifle and never did bring it home with me. So anyway, they took us to the Greyhound bus station to come to San Francisco. I live in San Francisco. So there was about 15 or 20 of us guys waiting to get on the bus, but we were all standing there, and there was a whole lot of people, mostly women with babies, and everybody, mostly women. We just talked together and said, well, I don't think we're going to get on this bus. So we said, well, we'll just wait a little longer. But before, when the bus driver came up and opened the door, he says, okay. He said, all you GIs, all you soldiers, come and get on the bus first. We didn't want to do that. No, take these people in there first. He said, well, this bus is not leaving until you guys get on the bus. And then when we got on, everybody gave us a little hand, and that was kind of neat, that I've always feel that in my heart, about something that happened, wouldn't ordinarily happen, but it was something that they did for us. And, I joined the post with these guys. This is one of my buddies here. He was also, well, I'll let him tell that, but anyway, I want to thank you people for listening to me, and I enjoyed the breakfast and meeting a lot of you people. Thank you kindly.
Stand up.
You want to stand up?
Yeah, I'll stand up. My name is Brett Bollinger. This is what I like to say. I'm a native of Sebastopol. I was born out on Pleasant Hill. It was called, at that time, it was called the Pleasant Hill Orchard Company. And we weren't there very long. I was born there. On October 12, 1916, I went to Pleasant Hill School, then I came to Sebastopol, and I went to Amway. I graduated from Amway in 1935. You know what? There's still 3 of us around. Of course, they're ladies. That's okay. Anyway, from there, I got into the Army, and they drafted me in 1941, March 10th, 1941, and I was there for 4 years and 7 months, of course 2 days and 5 hours. And I was in the 974th Field Artillery Battalion, 12th Corps of the 3rd Army. And I gotta tell you, I keep forgetting this. Artillery, what was artillery? Well, we had 155 millimeter guns, and they fired about 12 miles. So we could be back here and fire over these other people. It worked out real good for me anyway. Anyway, I got to be a radio operator. Oh my, that was the best thing ever happened to me. Because when I was in that, I got it to be the executive, battalion executive's car. So I sat in the back seat with 2 great big radios. That's what I did for the whole thing over there. I just lived with that radio. I got the Bronze Star for that. Also on this here is European Theater of Operations. It has 5 battle stars on it. So we went right through the war with them. Number 4 on here is the Battle of the Bulge. I beat it to that. But we had it real good up there because we were not up in the front lines. Actually, our guns were stationed in Luxembourg, and we could fire over into 5 different divisions with our guns, so it was great. After that, we went into action and went all to France, and we ended up in Germany, and we ended up in Linz, Austria. And if you read the history of it, that's where General Patton came in. But you know what? We were there before he was. The Burgermeister of Linz, Austria came down to our battalion and asked to surrender his city. And our asked him, well, are there any Germans there? Oh yeah, he says, there's still some there. So they sent him home. He come back the next day and he said, the Germans are all gone. I want to surrender my city to you people. And he did. It doesn't say that in the history. After the war, he told about it, I had 95 points. I was supposed to come right home. Oh, I never came right home. They took a group out of our division and put it in the 273rd Field Artillery Battalion, sent us into France, and we went up all through France and picked up vehicles that had been left behind. You can imagine how many there was. We had a huge field there, and we bought these Jeeps and all the equipment, put it bumper to bumper, and we filled that whole thing up with vehicles that had got left behind. I cannot imagine how so many things got left behind. But anyway, we did that for a few days, and then they finally caught up with my 95 points and sent me up into Belgium and got on a ship. The Joaquin Miller. He came back, we came to Boston on it. It was made down here in Richmond. After we was on it about 3 days, they said, you know what? They shipped all the crack. They all cracked. Well, what could they do with our ship? Well, they put a steel band around it and hold it together so we couldn't. Anyway, we were out there in the Atlantic for 4 or 5 days. And somebody got on the back of the ship and look at that little white thing back there. I wonder what the heck that is. Well, it didn't take long to find out. Here comes this huge white ship, the Queen Elizabeth, with troops on it coming home, and they just passed us right by. For heaven's sake. Anyway, we come into Boston Harbor, and looked around, I said, there's nobody here to greet us. And there wasn't. There was nobody to greet us. Well, after we got on a train to come back to Camp Kilmer in New Jersey, there was a big railroad yard. And all around this railroad yard was steam engines, and they had their steam going. Well, when our little train stopped, they all blew each whistle. Boy, that hit me. I said, well, welcome home. So we come to Camp Kilmer, and we got on DC-3, about 13 fellows to bring us home. Well, we got up in the air, Camp Kilmer, and one of the guys